Good morning, church. Today is day 18 of our 40 days of prayer challenge. And this morning we're going to talk about persistence. Yesterday, day 17, we talked about resistance. And this morning we're going to talk about persistence. And the two are actually closely linked when it comes to prayer. Persistence is something that we can find difficult in this day and age. We rarely have to wait for anything. If you think about it, everything is instant. Our coffee is instant, our food can be instant, the internet is instant. And when we do have to wait for anything, waiting is seen, it's viewed in a negative light. It's seen as a waste of time or just that space in between desiring something and getting it. Everything is almost instant and available at our fingertips. We can desire something, buy it, and have it delivered in the same day. Speed and accuracy are also two of the most desired professional qualities in the workplace. But sometimes our need for speed can be more of a hindrance than a help when we're circling something in prayer. Because very rarely are our prayers answered as quickly as we would like. And if we're not careful, this can quickly develop into discouragement because we get spiritually fatigued, as we discussed in yesterday's devotion, because it's taking a lot of time for us to see the results of what we're hoping and praying for. And then of course the temptation comes to just quit praying altogether. There are countless accounts in the Bible of people that highlights the importance of persistence when seeking God to move in a situation. One of the most familiar stories is the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. And in that story, one of the, which I'm not going to read because it's long, you can read it yourself when you go home, in Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 to 21. But in that story, the situation in the natural seemed quite hopeless. The Israelites had come to a wall, a fortified city, and there was no way of them being able to get in. But God had a plan, and his plan was that the Israelites were to march around the city 6 times for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, they were to march around the city 7 times. And then the priests were going to blow trumpets. And then the Israelite army was to let out a huge shout, and the walls were going to come down. So they did as God commanded them to do, and the walls fell down just as God said they would. But while I was preparing for this morning's devotional, I actually discovered that there is a branch of historical study called counterfactual theory. I didn't know about this before yesterday. It asks the what-ifs of history and imagines or theorizes how history would have unfolded differently if certain things had or not happened. For example, how different would our lives be today if Adolf Hitler had not come into power? Or if certain discoveries had not been made, medical discoveries or otherwise. Have you ever stopped to think what would have happened if the Israelites had got tired and discouraged after, say, 5 days of circling? Or maybe if Elijah, when he was praying for rain, had stopped praying after 6 days? Or maybe if the soldier that had been asked to bathe in the Jordan 7 times to cure his leprosy had stopped after 5 bathes? I think the answer is pretty obvious. The miracle would have been forfeited in the 11th hour, right before God would have brought it to pass. To anyone if there's anyone that's listening this morning that's facing the temptation to quit praying, I want to talk to you this morning and I want to encourage you. If you're yet to see an answer to what you're praying for, keep circling. Keep circling and keep circling. Message some close friends and ask them to cover you in prayer so that they're circling you while you're circling that situation. Because you see, church, God rarely does things the way that we expect him to, or how or when we expect him to. And we touched on that in day 16 when we were talking about God surprising us. Sometimes God will allow us to be pushed to our limits in our faith, pushed to the limits of our patience, pushed to the limits of our gifts, and not because he wants us to suffer. That's not who God is. He does it because that is the way that he stretches our faith and how he builds our character. I think sometimes if we could audibly hear what God is saying to us from heaven as we're circling that 5th lap and fighting the urge to quit because we haven't seen results, I think he would be saying something like this: don't lose heart, my child. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. And don't lose patience. I am directing your steps. I am preparing good works for you in advance. I am working all things together for your good. I am fighting this battle for you. There will be breakthrough. Keep circling. This morning I want to encourage you, church, to keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. Whatever it is that you're circling in prayer during this season of 40 days of prayer, whatever it is, it might be your marriage, it might be a backslidden family member, or a sick child, or a job. Whatever it is for you, it might feel like you're on your 6th lap and you're tired and you can't see any change. But let me encourage you to keep circling. The Israelites kept circling and the walls came down as God said they would. And I can tell you that if you keep circling and keep circling, the walls are going to come down around that situation that you are praying for, and you will see breakthrough. Our God is a God of breakthrough. God bless you, church.